She saw the paper first, not his face, not his hands, not the blanket barely covering his shoulder, just the note, crumpled in his fist like it had grown there. The edges torn, the corner folded, ink smudged in places where sweat or time had blurred it, but the words were hers. Not typed, not copied, not rewritten. Heron. She stepped closer. Floorboard didn't creak, just gave a small breath. The light from the stove still glowed behind her. She didn't know how long he'd been asleep there. Didn't know how he got the note either. She knelt, close enough to touch. Her eyes ran down the page. I'll go if you don't ask me to stay. M. Same way she wrote it back then. One line. No goodbye. Just a dare wrapped in pain. She reached to take it. His fingers twitched but didn't let go. She froze. Where'd you get that? He didn't move. She whispered again. Where'd you find it? Still nothing. Just breathing. She touched the side of his face. Not a mother's touch, not a stranger's either, something in between. He stirred, eyes still closed. Then he said, You wrote it. I know I wrote it. You mean it? She blinked. What? You still mean it? He opened his eyes. Slow. Not surprised to see her, not frightened, just ready. Who gave it to you? He looked away. It was folded inside the quilt. What quilt? The one in the cedar box. That box ain't opened in 15 years. I opened it. She stood, not fast, not slow, just enough for her voice to harden. That note wasn't meant for you. He sat up, legs over the side of the cot, still holding the paper. It was meant for someone, though. She didn't answer. You were going to leave. I was 17. You still left. I came back. Too late. Too late for what? He didn't say. She pointed. Give me the note. He looked down at it, turned it over like he was memorizing the creases. I don't sleep unless I'm holding it. That ain't normal, he shrugged. Ain't normal round here anyhow. She stepped forward, arm out. You don't even know what it means. It means you ran. I didn't run. I walked. I left 'cause I had to. Yeah? And what did that fix? Not everything's about fixing. He stared at her. I found the letter, he said again. Then I started dreaming you were in the kitchen, sitting at the table, peeling apples, singing off-key. I don't sing. You did in the dream. That ain't real. He stood, taller than she remembered. His voice had weight now. It felt real. You ain't supposed to have that letter. You're right. He offered it now. Take it. She reached out, then stopped. He waited. I didn't write it for your father, she said. He tilted his head. You didn't? No. Then who? She looked away. That don't matter. It does now. He stepped closer. I need to know. Why? I think I'm the reason you wrote it. She laughed once. You weren't even born. But he was. Silence. He took another step. I saw the photo. The one you hid under the ledger. He looked like me. You don't know what you're saying. He held up the note again. I sleep holding this because I think I'm the thing you walked away from. Her chest didn't move. Not for a breath. Not for a blink. You ain't. You sure? I'm sure. He studied her. You ever think about it? He asked. About what? If you'd stayed. Every day. He nodded. Then why'd you wait so long to come back? She didn't answer. The stove behind her popped. He stepped past her, toward the counter, took the kettle off without asking, poured it slow. You wrote it because no one listened, he said. I wrote it because I was scared. Of what? What I'd turn into if I stayed. And now? I don't know. He set the cup down in front of her. Drink. She didn't. He leaned on the counter. I read it out loud one night. The note? Yeah. To who? Just me. And the barn rafters. She reached slowly, took the cup. You remember what you wrote? He asked. She nodded. He recited anyway. I'll go if you don't ask me to stay. She set the cup down, hands shaking. I meant it when I wrote it. Do you still? She looked at him, then stepped forward, then whispered his name. His eyes didn't blink, didn't flinch, just waited. She folded the note slow, not delicate, just careful. Each crease seemed to echo. Then she placed it on the table between them. He didn't move, didn't reach. She stayed standing. He sat. Tea's cold, he said. I didn't come for tea. He looked past her. Then what did you come for? You know what? I don't. You got the letter. That don't mean I know. She crossed her arms. You think holding it makes you part of it? No. Then why sleep with it? He shrugged. Some things help. That ain't what it's for. He met her eyes. Then what is it for? She didn't answer. He leaned back. You ever rewrite it? No. Not once. No. You never thought maybe it was wrong. She shook her head. It was the only true thing I wrote back then. Then why not send it? She pulled the chair out but didn't sit. You ask a lot of things, she said. I ain't asked nothing yet. Silence filled the space between them. Not thick, not loud, just present. She sat finally, elbows on the table. You told me it was in the quilt. Yeah. Folded how? Like that. Exactly. He nodded. You opened that cedar box on purpose? Not at first. She waited. I was looking for the ledger, he said, for the names, for his records. You think he kept records? I know he did. He never wrote down nothing honest in his life. Doesn't mean I wasn't gonna check. She tapped the table once. So you opened the box, found the quilt, found the note. Yeah. She looked toward the stove. That quilt was mine when I was 12. I figured. You know how I got it? He shook his head. I stitched every square by hand. Took all winter. Mama said it'd keep the cold out and the memories in. He gave a dry smile. She was wrong. Yeah, she said. She was. He stared at her a long beat. Why was the note in it? She didn't flinch. Because he never found it. Because I was afraid he would. He nodded like he already knew. You knew he was like that? No, she said. I just knew I didn't want to find out. He looked at the note again. Did he ever ask you to stay? No. He kept his voice low. He asked my mama to stay. Once. I know. You do. I was standing behind the door. His fingers tapped the side of the cup. And you still left? He didn't mean it. Neither did mine. She stood again, moved toward the window. The field out back still held fog along the fence line. He ever hit you? He asked. She didn't turn. He didn't need to. Same. He used words? No, the boy said. He used silence. She nodded. That's worse. He rose from his chair, walked over slow, not threatening, not soft either. You ever miss it? What? The way it used to feel, before it all cracked. She smiled without joy. It never felt whole to me. You were the one who left. You were the one who stayed. I was a kid. I was a girl. That stopped him. He sat again, this time on the edge of the counter. She turned to face him. Did he tell you about me? No, he said. Not once. She stepped closer. Then how'd you know who I was? Didn't. So why'd you let me in? He shrugged. Because you came back like you belonged. She exhaled slow. I didn't expect you to look like him. I didn't expect you to sound like me. That stung something in her. You angry? She asked. No. You should be. You want me to be. No. Then what do you want? I want. She stopped, shook her head. I want to know why I never stopped thinking about this place. He nodded once. Same. She glanced down at the note, still on the table, still untouched. You ever write one? She asked. A note? Yeah. He looked out the window. Once. You send it? No. Why not? Didn't know. Where to send it? She reached for the note, folded it again, slid it toward him. He still didn't touch it. You want to burn it? He asked. She paused. No. Why not? Because the words still feel real. He nodded slow. Then leave it, he said. Right there. Why? Because maybe it belongs on this table more than anywhere else. She left it. He didn't reach for it, not even when she walked out the door. The door opened without a knock. He didn't stomp, didn't call out, just entered like he never left, like he owned it still. The bag stitcher, hands cracked raw, knuckles dark with old thread burns. Leather smell followed him like smoke. He looked once at her, once at his son, then let his eyes settle on the folded paper on the table. He didn't touch it, didn't need to. That yours? He asked. The boy tensed. No. Was in your hand when I walked in. She stepped back. It's mine. He didn't blink. You say that like it means something. It does. The man walked slow to the chair, sat like it hurt. Funny thing, he said. Paper survives what people don't. The son's voice came quick. You don't know what it is. The man looked at him. Don't need to. You think it's yours? I think if it's in my house, on my table, in my boy's hand, then it's already mine. She moved between them. He ain't your boy anymore. That got him quiet. The man's eyes narrowed, not sharp, but sure. You don't get to say that. I just did. He glanced at the boy. You let her talk like that? The son didn't speak. You got a tongue, don't you? The boy swallowed. She ain't wrong. The man grunted. You think blood's something you can wash off. No, the boy said, but I think shame sticks better. That landed, not with sound, but weight. The man leaned forward, elbows on knees. You ashamed of me? Every day. For what? For what you made her leave from. She shifted. He doesn't know. The man nodded. He knows enough. You never hit me, she said. Never had to. You hurt me anyway. You let me. The boy stood. Don't talk to her like that. She ain't your mother. No, the boy said. She's better. The man stood too, not quick, but taller. You don't know what you're saying. I know more than you ever told me. What's that mean? It means I found the letters. I found the photos. I found the names scratched under the ledger. The man's jaw didn't move. She stepped closer. You stitched more than bags. He laughed once. You think you're clever? Number, I think I'm done being quiet. The man looked at his son. She feeding you stories now? The boy didn't flinch. Number, just truths. She left. You made her. You don't know what happened. I know you stitched your lies into leather and handed them down like heirlooms. The man's voice dropped. You think you're better than me? I think I have to be. He looked at the note again. Read it to me. No, the son said. I said, read it. The boy stepped between him and the table. You don't get to ask that. The man stared at the space where the paper sat. You don't get to keep secrets from blood. You kept plenty. That was different. Why? Because I didn't know what else to do. The woman's voice came low. You could have left. I was the one holding everything together. You were the one pulling it apart. The boy's hands shook now. He clenched them at his sides. You should go, he said. The man didn't move. I said go. I built this house. And I'm tearing it down, the boy said. Still, the man didn't raise his voice, didn't yell, just looked at them both like they were strangers trespassing on land that bore his name. He turned without another word, walked to the door, paused. Blood don't lie, he said. The boy answered without looking at him. Then maybe I ain't yours. The door shut hard behind him. The son stood frozen, then turned, stepped out after him. The barn door groaned when he pushed it open. She followed, not close, just enough to keep him from disappearing. Inside, the air was still, thick with hay dust and silence. He didn't turn around, just walked slow toward the back corner, past the ladder, past the busted saddle rack, past the post where the old dog used to sleep. Then he stopped. You ever come in here back then? He asked. Once, she said. Didn't stay long. Too dark? Too quiet. He kicked a patch of dirt with his boot. The dust rose and hung there like it didn't want to settle. Used to sleep here, he said, when I couldn't breathe in the house. She stepped forward. How old? Don't know. 8? Maybe 9. She looked around. Nothing changed. Same beam with the rusted nail still half bent. Same broken hinge where the feed door sagged. Same silence. He sat on the ground, legs stretched out, arms resting across his knees. I brought a quilt out once, he said. Cold night, no moon. I pulled it tight and pretended I was someone else. She didn't sit. You remember me at all? He asked. I remember a boy who watched me leave from behind the woodpile. That was me. I know. He pulled a piece of straw from the ground and chewed the end. She said you weren't coming back. Who? My mother. She was right. But you did. I didn't know you'd still be here. He looked up at her. Why'd you leave without saying goodbye? You already know. Say it anyway. She leaned on the beam. Because I was scared if I stayed, I'd lose the last piece of myself that wasn't his. The boy nodded. He ever hit you? She asked. No, he said, but he'd sit real close sometimes. Just lookin'. She felt her stomach twist. He tell you things. Not with words. What then? He'd leave notes. Her voice cracked. What kind? Just words, short, not signed, folded under my pillow or in my boot. She moved closer, sat down slow, knees stiff. The dust stirred again. You still have 'em? No. Burned them. Buried. Where? Don't know. I stopped marking after the fourth one. She swallowed hard. He used to tell people I was slow, he said. You weren't. I know, but it made him stop asking questions. You remember her? My mother. She nodded. Yeah, he said. She hummed when she cooked, even when there was no food. She was kind. She was tired. Silence stretched again. He pulled his sleeves up. Scars ran across his forearm. Not deep, not straight. She looked at them but didn't ask. He answered anyway. Sometimes I had to remind myself I was still here. She looked down. I'm sorry. You don't have to be. I do. He tossed the straw aside. You were the only one who ever smiled at me without a reason. She blinked slow. You'd walk past and say my name like it wasn't broken. You remember that? I remember everything. She wiped her hands on her jeans. I should have stayed. He nodded. Maybe. You angry? Little. Why haven't you said it? Because you're here now. That don't fix it. I don't want it fixed. Then what? I just want it known. She reached out, touched his shoulder. He didn't pull away. I thought about writing back, she said, after I left. Why didn't you? I didn't know what to say. You could have said my name. She looked away. I didn't think I had the right. I waited. I know. He stood, walked toward the ladder, looked up. There's something in the loft. What is it? I don't know, but I hear it sometimes. Rats? Voices. She stood too. Dust clung to her knees, like whispering. No, he said, like rope shifting, like something swinging. She looked at the rafters. You go up there? Not anymore. Why not? Because I saw something once, hanging from the middle beam. Then it was gone. She didn't speak. He pointed up. Right there. A creak echoed from above. They both froze. Another creak, slow, measured, like weight moving without feet. He stepped back. She didn't. Don't, he said. It's just wood. He shook his head. It ain't. The sound came again. She looked up. He looked with her. They didn't speak. Not for a long time. The knock didn't come. Just the door swinging open. Boots tracked wet mud across the floorboards. He didn't wipe them, didn't pause. The sheriff. Hat low. Coat damp. One hand resting where the holster used to sit. He looked around once. Saw the folded note on the table. Smirked. Didn't figure you'd be back, he said. She didn't rise. Didn't ask you to come in. Wasn't asking permission. The boy stepped in from the barn, shirt damp with dust. He stopped cold when he saw the sheriff. You here for something? He asked. The sheriff nodded at the paper. That it? No. The boy said, and it ain't yours. Didn't say it was. Just said, that it? She pushed the note aside. What do you want? He walked further in, dripping. Funny thing. Someone writes a line like that. Folks assume it's about running. But I read it different. You've been reading it. Got eyes, don't I? Got shame. He chuckled once, dry. Not lately. The boy stepped closer. You still a lawman or just a mouth with boots? The sheriff didn't blink. Depends who's asking. I am. Then I'm whatever makes you nervous. No one here's nervous, the woman said. He turned to her. You write it? She didn't flinch. I did. Why? You know why. I want to hear you say it. You want a story? Go find someone else. He took off his hat, slapped it against his leg. Mud scattered. Girl writes one line 20 years ago, and now the whole damn town's whispering again. Let them. You think they'll stay quiet when they find out what it means. They always knew what it meant. He looked at the boy. You know? I know enough. Know who it was written to? The boy's jaw tightened. Does it matter? The sheriff shrugged. Only if it's who I think. You think too much, the woman said. Better than not thinking at all. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You left quiet, he said. Now you're loud just by standing here. I didn't leave quiet, you just didn't listen. That a threat? That's a fact. He smiled like it hurt. He ever tell you what he said the night you left? She didn't answer. The boy looked between them. Who? Your daddy, the sheriff said. He sat on that porch all night, drunk, mumbling, said she'd come back, said the house'd pull her back in like roots. He never said that, the boy muttered. He said a lot when no one was listening. She stood now. You done? He held up a finger. Not yet. She waited. You know the difference between a goodbye and a confession. She didn't answer. He pointed to the note. That ain't a goodbye. That's a confession wrapped in a dare. The boy stepped in. You keep circling like you're gonna say something, but you don't. Maybe I'm waiting for her to. She already did. It's written down. The sheriff looked at him. You believe it? Every word. You think it means you're owed something. I think it means we ain't done here. The sheriff shook his head. This town forgets slow. Good, the woman said. Then let it remember loud. He stepped back toward the door, paused. You planning to dig it all up? Already started. He put his hat back on. You think truth gets people clean? It don't. It just gets them wet with blood they thought they washed off. She crossed her arms. Then let it stain. He stared at her, quiet. You're gonna burn more than memories, he said. Then I'll light the match myself. He looked at the boy one last time. You sure this is the hill you want to stand on? It's the only one that ever meant anything. The sheriff nodded. Just once. Turned to the door. Told you I wasn't done, he said. She didn't move. You are for today, she replied. He tipped his hat. We'll see. Then he walked out. Left the door wide open behind him. They walked without lanterns. Past the barn, past the fence line, past the tree split from old lightning. The sky above was bruised with clouds, moon hiding behind layers thick enough to choke breath. He carried the note in one hand. Didn't look at it. Didn't speak. She followed 3 steps behind. You sure about this? She asked. He didn't answer. The path curved down where the ground dipped, where the dirt stayed soft even in summer. She remembered it before she saw it. The old well, stone-ringed, moss-covered, half-swallowed by years. It hadn't been used since the fire. He stopped. She stepped beside him. You gonna say something? He opened his palm. The note lay flat, barely creased, like it hadn't been handled at all. Then, without a word, he dropped it in. It fell slow. No wind, no rustle, just gone. She waited for the sound. Waited longer. Finally, a soft pack, like something hitting water, but not breaking it. Too long. Way too long. She turned to him. Why? He looked at her, eyes steady. It was already down there. That one wasn't. No, he said, but the weight of it was. She stepped closer to the stones, felt the cold rising. You used to come out here? He nodded. Only place I could think straight. And the house. Too many echoes. Too many doors that didn't shut all the way. You ever try to fill it? The well? Yeah. He kicked a rock. It bounced once, then dropped inside. No point, he said. Can't bury something that doesn't want to stay down. She leaned over, looked into the black. Nothing. Stared back. You believe in curses? She asked. No. Why not? Because curses need a starting place, something clean to spoil. I don't think this place was ever clean. She took that in. What else have you dropped in here? He shrugged. Names. Matches. Once. A whole Bible. What did you expect? Silence. Did it give it to you? Sometimes. She ran her fingers along the stone rim. I left because I thought I was the rot, she whispered. You weren't. I thought if I stayed, I'd grow into him. You didn't. How can you know? Because you left. He crouched beside the well, touched the lip with one hand. I came out here the night I turned 13, he said. Why? Because he said I had a man's eyes, then didn't look at me the rest of the night. What did you do? I came here, lit a match, dropped it in. Why? To see if anything burned. She stared. Did it? No, he said. But the wind stopped. She didn't respond. He stood again, brushed dirt off his hands. You ever think he's still down there? He asked. She stiffened. He's not dead. Not his body, the boy said. Just the part that lived in our heads. She swallowed. What part was that? The one that made us quiet. He took a step toward the edge. Sometimes I hear things when I'm out here. Like what? Words that never got spoken. His. Ours. She turned her head, looked at the field, looked at the trees. Anything but that hole. I don't like being here, she said. Me neither. Then why bring me? Because it's the only place that ever gave anything back. She knelt now, slow, rested both hands on the stone, peered over again. You think the words are still falling? She asked. He didn't answer. She leaned closer, felt it in her chest first. A tremble, not from wind, not from cold. Something else, the kind of stillness that isn't empty, just listening. She shut her eyes. Then she heard it. Software faint, floating upward like breath through water. I'll go if you don't ask me to stay. Her own voice, not past her, not child her. Her, now alive. She jerked back. The boy caught her arm. You heard it? He asked. She nodded. You hear it every time? No, he said. Only when someone's ready to listen. She gripped the edge again, looked down like the dark owed her something. What else did it say to you? He hesitated. Say it, she pressed. It said your name, he whispered. Last winter, over and over, like it didn't want to forget. She stared. You think it wants us to forgive something? No, he said. I think it wants us to remember what we buried. And decide if we can live with it. She leaned over again. Nothing came, only silence. But it wasn't empty. It was waiting. The ledger smelled like mildew and something older. She held it by the spine, thumb against the stitched leather. It crackled when she opened it. The pages brittle from damp and time. Edges curled like they were already trying to turn to smoke. The boy stood near the hearth, hands at his sides, jaw clenched. You sure? He asked. She nodded. Been sure since the well. The fireplace yawned cold. Ashes still from yesterday's cook fire. She knelt, laid the book flat, spine up. He saw it first. There, he said. She looked, a seam across the inner spine, rougher than the rest, thread too thick. Wrong color. She took her knife from her boot, sliced it clean. The paper inside was folded twice, tucked like a hidden lung. She opened it. Same note, same line, same shape of her younger hand. I'll go if you don't ask me to stay. She didn't speak. The boy did. Why would he stitch it in? She shook her head. To keep it, or to bury it. The front door creaked. The father stepped in, dirt on his coat, wrists stained with oil. He paused when he saw the paper in her hand. What's that? You know, she said. He didn't answer. She stood, held it up. You took it from me. Hid it. I kept it, he said. Same thing. Number you, we're gonna leave and say nothing. I couldn't let that be the last word. It wasn't yours to decide. I raised you. No, she said. You ruled me. The boy didn't move. You put it in the ledger? The man nodded. Why? So no one would find it. But you looked at it. Only when I needed reminding. Of what? The woman asked. He hesitated. That some things you can't unhear. She stepped to the hearth, held the note over the flames, didn't drop it. The boy moved forward. Wait. What? He pointed at the ledger. That's what needs burning. She stared at it. Ledger's got names, the father said. Whose? Workers. Debt. Land trades. Truths. The man looked down. No, he said. She tossed the ledger in. It caught fast. The paper curled inward like it was swallowing its own guilt. The boy stepped back. Heat rushed up. She tossed the stitched copy of the note on top. The fire flared. Then footsteps again. Boots. The sheriff leaned in the doorway. No knock, no greeting. Just his stare. Always said that book would light faster than pine, he muttered. Nobody answered. The flames licked higher. He stepped in. Didn't stop the burn. Just watched. You get what you wanted, he asked her. No, she said, but I got what needed burning. The sheriff looked at the father. You gonna say anything? About what? About why half the names in that ledger matched the ones buried without markers. The man rubbed his hands. Those weren't my graves, but your words sent 'em there. You can't prove that. The sheriff grinned. Don't have to. She already did. He looked at her. You wrote the note before all that, didn't you? Yes. Then why stitch it in? She pointed at the father. Ask him. The boy turned to his father. Answer him. The man sighed. I needed to remember what I lost control of. You mean her? No, he said. Myself. She stepped forward. You never lost control. You just learned how to hide it better. The man's face hardened. You think you understand me? I understand how silence turns to rot. The boy cut in. You kept all those names, even the ones you lied about. They paid me. For what? Protection, passage, work, none of it real. Real enough to keep the barn full. She stepped between them. You knew they were women. They were mouths, he said. Mouths with stories. I kept 'em quiet. The sheriff's voice came low. How many? The man didn't answer. How many? The boy repeated. Still silence. Say it, she said. The man looked at the fire. 17. The room stilled. The fire crackled, low now. The boy stepped back. You bury them in ledgers like they didn't breathe, he said. The man looked down. I never touched 'em. That ain't the defense you think it is, the sheriff said. No one moved. Ash began to fall from the half-burnt ledger. The cover curled back. Spine cracked. Ink running into ember. The boy walked forward, pulled the last page out. Half-burned, edges blackened. Your name's on this, he told his father. The man looked away. The boy dropped it back into the fire. They all watched it go. The sheriff walked to the hearth, reached into his coat, pulled out his badge, held it over the flame, paused, then dropped it. It hissed. The brass cracked as the heat took it. He didn't look away. I don't wear liars, he said. The woman stepped beside him. You done? She asked. He nodded. For now. The fire died slow. No one moved, just ash, everywhere. The morning came gray. No sun, just light enough to see the field stretching flat and raw past the ash-coated house. She stepped outside and stopped. Posts, thick, crooked ones, spaced wide, driven deep. A line of them cut through the back edge of the field like a scar that hadn't healed right. He was already out there, hammer swinging slow, each strike solid, not rushed. She walked toward him, didn't call his name. When she got close, he looked up. You building a pen? She asked. No animals left to hold. Then what's it for? He wiped sweat with the back of his arm. Memory. She stared at the post nearest her. Rough grain. Bark still clinging to one side. That fence wasn't here before, she said. No. Wasn't needed. He met her eyes. Still isn't. Not really. Then why build it? He tapped the post once, to keep the silence from coming back. She scoffed. You think this'll hold something like that? It's not for holding, he said. It's for marking. Marking what? What we didn't say. She stepped closer. You trying to make this poetic? No. You're not a poet. Didn't say I was. She leaned on the nearest post. So what is this? He grabbed another beam, dropped it into a hole. Each one's a line. A line of what? Of yours. What? He paused. The note. I took your words, broke them apart, gave each piece a place. She shook her head. That don't make sense. It does to me. You trying to fix something? No, he said. Just trying to speak without talking. That's the same kind of silence that got us here. He drove the post in. 3 hard swings. It held. She circled him. You blame me? He didn't stop. For what? For leaving? No. For staying gone? No. Then why do this now? He looked at her. Because your words were the only honest ones in that house. She blinked. That note wasn't a confession, he said. It was a map. I followed it. To what? To the edge of everything that hurt. She stepped back. Dust rose under her boot. You think you're healing something by driving wood into dirt. I think I'm telling the truth, one post at a time. She crossed her arms. I don't believe you. That's fine. You built this for yourself. He didn't answer. You didn't think I'd come back. No. Then it's not for me. He nodded. It's for what I needed to say in case you did. She picked up a splintered scrap near the base of the last hole, held it like a knife. You still a boy building forts? No. He said. I'm a man building boundaries. Between what and what? Between who I was and who I ain't anymore. She dropped the splinter. You think you've changed? I know I have. She stared at him. You sound like your father. That stopped him. He set the hammer down. I don't want to, he said. Then quit talking like him. He walked past her, picked up the next post. Blood smeared on one hand. You're bleeding. I know. You gonna stop? No. You think pain proves something? No, he said. But ignoring it hides everything. She knelt by the nearest post, ran her fingers along the grain. What's this one say? He answered without looking. If. She moved to the next. And this? You. Another. Don't. Another. Ask. She stopped. He drove another post behind her. The sound made her jump. You memorized it, she asked. Every word. She stood, looked out across the row. How many more? 3. You remember the last line. I'll go, he said. If you don't ask me to stay. She didn't speak. The wind shifted. Behind them, the crunch of boots on broken ground, the bag stitcher dragging another post, shoulders hunched, one hand red, the other wrapped in cloth. He didn't speak, just planted it at the far edge, drove it in, again, and again. Each swing louder, his hands bled more. He didn't stop. The boy turned to her. You believe me now? She looked at the fence, then nodded. Once. Quiet. The wind shifted just before she heard it, small feet in dry grass. Then a voice. Mara. She froze. The boy stopped mid-swing, hammer still in his hand. Mara. The voice came again. She turned. A child stood at the fence line, barefoot, mud up both legs, shirt too big, hair sticking to his forehead. He held a piece of paper in both hands. She stepped forward. Where'd you come from? The child didn't answer, just stared at her. Mara, he said again. The boy looked between them. You know him. She shook her head. No. The child walked forward, slow and sure. No fear. When he reached her, he held out the paper. She took it. Her hands trembled. Same note, same handwriting, same fold, same ink smudge in the top right corner. The boy stepped closer. What the hell? Where did you get this? She asked. The child tilted his head. You wrote it. No, she whispered. No, I didn't give this to you. He looked confused. You did. When? The boy's voice cut in. Is someone with you? The child shook his head. Where's your family? The child looked at the field. Gone. The bag stitcher appeared at the porch, quiet, watching. The boy turned to him. Is this yours? The man didn't blink, didn't nod, didn't move. Mara, the child said again. I read it every night. She knelt. Who gave it to you? You did, he repeated. The boy stepped in. What's your name? The child looked down. Don't know. How'd you get here? The child pointed to the barn. The boy turned sharp. No one was in there. I was, the child said. You live here? No. You hiding? No. Then why are you here? The child pointed at the paper. To return it. Mara stood. I never gave this to anyone. The child frowned. But it's yours. She looked at the boy. Tell me this isn't happening. He shook his head. I don't know what this is. The child turned to the bag stitcher. He watched me yesterday. The boy stared at his father. You saw him? The man didn't answer. You saw him, the boy shouted. He nodded. Didn't speak. Figured he was a ghost. The child looked at him. I'm not. The boy's voice cracked. Then what are you? I'm the part that stayed. The wind kicked. Dust spiraled up from the fence line. The child let go of the paper. It caught the breeze, fluttered once, then twice, then lifted. They all watched it drift toward the barn. No one moved, not even the child. He stood with the lantern while she poured the oil, roof to beams, floorboards, hay already scattered, rope coiled in the corner, every post, every splinter, every nail that had kept something quiet. She didn't speak. He didn't ask. When it was done, she stepped outside. He handed her the match. She struck it with her thumb, watched the flame tremble. He said, You sure? She nodded. He said, This won't fix it. It ain't supposed to. She walked forward, flicked the match through the open doorway. It landed near the rope, caught, slow at first, like the building was thinking it over, then faster, crackling, rushing, breathing in smoke. She backed away, the boy beside her. Flames climbed high, orange spilling out the windows, licking the beams. The rope burned first, then the hay, then the old tools leaning in the shadows. She watched until the windows melted, until the roof cracked. Then, look, the boy said. Something in the center. White, still. She stepped forward, shielded her eyes. It didn't move. The fire swept around it, touched everything but that one thing. The note, not scorched, not curled, just sitting there in the ash. She ran in. He shouted, Mara. But she didn't stop. Boots crushed embers. Heat blistered her arms. Smoke crawled down her throat. She dropped to her knees, reached through glowing shards, fingers burned, skin split, but she grabbed it, held it, turned and ran. She burst through the smoke, fell onto the grass, coughing. The boy grabbed her, pulled her back, away from the barn, away from the blaze. "You crazy?" She didn't answer, just held up the paper, still whole, still white, still hers. She unrolled it with shaking hands. Her eyes scanned it slow. Then she read it aloud. "I'll go if you don't ask me to stay." The boy sat next to her. "You think it's cursed?" "No," she said. "I think it's waiting." "For what?" "For someone to listen." He looked at the barn. What else was in there? She whispered, "Rope." "What kind?" "The kind they hung memory with." Flames cracked louder. One side of the roof dropped. The wind spun the heat across the yard. The bag stitcher stood at the porch, watching, not moving. He said, "You think this changes anything?" She stood, walked toward him, held up the note. "This survived everything you built." He said nothing. "This was mine, and you tried to bury it." "You left it," he said. She stepped closer. "Because I had no place to leave it safe. You had me. I had a cage. You don't know what I gave up." "I do," she said. "I lived with it." The boy shouted, "You let that barn stand for years." The man looked past him. "So did you." He stepped forward. "I didn't know what was in it. You knew enough to stay out." The woman stood between them. "I want you to say it," she said. He stared. "Say what you did." He shook his head. "Say it," she repeated. "I don't remember." She held up the note again. "Then read this." He didn't move. She shoved it toward him. "Read it out loud." He blinked. "I can't." "Why not?" "Because it's true," he whispered. The boy looked down. "It's always been true." Smoke filled the air again. The barn collapsed with a groan. A wall gave out. Still the fire didn't touch the porch, didn't touch the note. She looked at the boy, held the paper tight. He reached for her hand. She didn't let go of the note. They walked barefoot, not by choice, not for show, just what felt right. The boy on her right, the bag stitcher behind them, and the note clutched in her hand, pressed flat against her chest like a shield with no edges. The dirt road wound through fields that remembered, past old fences, past charred barns, past houses where curtains moved but no doors opened. No one stopped them. Not one voice called out. Even the birds stayed quiet. When the wrought iron gates came into view, the boy slowed. "You sure?" "Yes," she said. He nodded once. They reached the gate. It was already open. He was waiting. The sheriff, hat off, hands empty, coat unbuttoned like he meant to show there was nothing hiding underneath. "You walking into trouble," he said. "We already came out of it," she answered. He looked down at her feet. "Blood on your toes." "They'll heal." He nodded at the paper. "You carrying that like it's holy. It's older than your badge." He didn't argue. He stepped aside. "I ain't stopping you," he said, "but he'll try." "Then let him try." They passed through. The gravel path led straight to the white columned house that never looked tired, even when it should have. The porch had been rebuilt, new paint, same bones. He stood at the top step. Governor, not by vote, by history, face shaved, shirt crisp, hands folded behind his back like he didn't know how to do anything else. When he saw her, his mouth twitched, not quite a smile. "Well," he said, "that's a face I thought time buried." She stopped 10 feet from the steps. "Maybe it tried." He looked at the boy, at the man behind them. "This your army?" "No." "This your court?" "No." "Then why are you here?" She held up the note. He blinked, then scoffed. "That again. You remember it?" "I remember plenty." "You remember what you said?" "The day I left?" "I don't make a habit of remembering ghosts." The boy stepped forward. "Then let me remind you." The governor narrowed his eyes. "You whispered it to her," the boy said, "before anyone could hear, right in this yard. You were barely born." "I remember." "You remember wrong." The bag stitcher spoke. "Number he don't." That turned the governor's face. "Didn't expect you to come." "I didn't expect to stand on this porch again," the man said. "But here I am." "Why?" "To see if you still flinch when someone says the truth." The governor stepped down one stair. "You want something, or just noise?" "We want your memory," the woman said. He laughed, short, cold. "You want proof? You bring paper?" She held the note up again. His eyes froze. It wasn't fear. It was recognition. He blinked twice, licked his lips. That's been gone for years. It was stitched in your ledger. Which ledger? The one you gave to him. She nodded toward the bag stitcher. To bury girls without stones. That ain't how it worked. It is. You can't prove I read it. You just did. He shifted. This don't mean what you think. It means exactly what it says. The boy stepped beside her. You saw her words and chose silence. I chose survival, the governor said. Yours, she replied. He looked at her hand, the paper still trembling there. You gonna read it? He asked. No. Then why bring it? So you'd see what didn't burn. He was quiet. Behind them, the wind picked up. She stepped forward, laid the note on the bottom step, backed away. Pick it up, she said. He didn't. He looked at it like it was crawling. Pick it up, she said again. Still, he didn't move. The sheriff spoke from the gate. She brought it. You don't want it. That tells us plenty. The governor's voice dropped. What do you think you're doing here? You think this is justice? She answered steady. Number, this is memory. There's no law behind it. There never was. He looked around, at the fields, at the porch, at the men who no longer looked down when he spoke, then at the note. I don't want it, he said. You already had it, she said. And then she turned, walked back the way she came. The boy followed, the bag stitcher behind. The sheriff stayed at the gate. The note stayed on the step. The governor never picked it up. The sky lightened without color. No pink, no gold, just pale gray pushing back the dark. She stood at the table, one sheet of paper in front of her, the same kind her mother kept folded in drawers, never used. The boy was still sleeping in the barn. She hadn't gone to check. She didn't need to. She uncapped the pen, rolled it once between her fingers, then wrote, each letter full, slow, not rushed like before. No slant in the loop of the Y, no curl on the S, just clear, just honest. She read it back to herself. I'll go if you don't ask me to stay. But it looked different now, like something said with dignity, not desperation. She folded it once, neat, firm, then stepped outside. The air carried a chill. Barefoot in the dirt, she didn't wince. The fence stretched across the field, posts still standing, still raw. She walked toward it. No coat, no bag, just the note in her hand. The post second from the end leaned a little, not broken, just tired. She stopped there, ran her fingers over the grain. She could still hear the boy's voice. Each one's a line. Now this was the last. She placed the note on top of the post, pressed it down with both palms, closed her eyes. I'll go if you don't ask me to stay, she whispered. This time no one needed to hear it but the land. The house behind her creaked. The porch shifted. A window groaned, but no voices called. She turned, looked back once. The barn stood quiet. No smoke, no rope, no fire. She walked toward it. The doors were cracked open, enough to step through without sound. Inside, the boy lay curled in the hay, his breath slow, hands tucked under his chin. She knelt beside him, tucked a corner of the quilt up over his shoulder, then slid the new note beneath his hand. He stirred, but didn't wake. She brushed his hair back from his